Welcome to episode number 35 of the Between Two Brands podcast. I'm your host, Bill Petrie, and as always, I want to thank you for coming along this ride with me. I think we have a great show today, but before we get to that, let's pay the rent, shall we? If you haven't noticed, there's been a ton of changes in the industry the past few years, from big distributor moves to supplier consolidation. It's almost impossible to keep up with it all, and we're going to get to some of that change here in a minute. But that's why I'd like to start the podcast today to talk about something we don't really discuss often enough in the promotional products industry, and that's stability. With all the changes that happen on a regular basis, it's just as important to talk about companies that are established, stable, and strong. For over 90 years and four generations of family ownership, Shapenko has genuinely cared about the success of their clients. That, my friends, is the definition of stability. Now, another point, since they only sell through promotional products distributors, Shapenko is dedicated to doing more than delivering quality merchandise at a fair price. They go the extra mile to ensure every distributor project is a resounding success. It's the right way to do business, and that is how you continue to be stable and strong heading into the next 90 years. Bottom line, Shapenko has stood the test of time, the people and the products, the experience, everything is absolutely the best. Head over to shapenko.com and start your next project today. Now, I started off talking about uh, changes and a lot of changes in the industry, and then obviously stability. I want to go back to change because something that I've called for years, the silly season in the promotional products industry, which is generally from October 1st to January 15th. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the silly season for me is when there are so many either supplier consolidation, purchases, mergers, acquisitions, things like that, but also people who are well known who move from one company to another. Like I said, generally October 1st, leading up through Expo, people like to make a big splash in the winter, especially leading up to ASI Orlando and PPAI Expo. Well, this past week, wow, within a span of 4 days, we had four pretty seismic moves in the industry for those of you who pay attention to those sort of things. Number one, a good friend of the show, and she might be on soon to talk about this. Brittany Fraze left Hirsch after, I believe, 13 years and moved over from the supplier side to made to order as the chief revenue officer, which I think is going to be a great fit for both her and made to order. Mark Gammon, good friend, just a great guy all around, moved from Cap America to PCNA, where he's going to be the VP of National Accounts. Charity Gibson has joined Bold Promo, which was formerly advertising, as head of strategic accounts. Many of you know she was the former chief marketing officer at Proforma for about a year and a half. And then just yesterday, good friend, good pal, and just all around terrific human being, Kenny Ved, who left Gold Star this past summer, is now gone to FASA, which is a tremendous supplier of apparel in the industry, as the chief revenue officer. And that's just 4 days. And we are, it's still the first week of September. I have a feeling this might be the silliest of all silly seasons. I think we're going to see a lot more of these moves. And I guess I wanted to throw it out there to you. I definitely have opinions on this, but I'd like your opinion as well. Does this make you, whether you're on the supplier side, distributor side, or even on the business services side, does it make you itchy to look around when you see all these moves? And again, in a week, we had four very well-known people in the industry, seismic moves. Does it make you itchy? Back in my old days when I was working for an organization, it did make me itchy. I would always see these type of announcements and think, man, maybe it's time I start sticking my toe in the water and see what else might be out there for me. Sometimes I did. Most of the time, I didn't. And so, like I said, I'm just curious what you feel when you see all of these moves. Number one, do you think we're going to see a bunch more? And I do. I really, really do. I think it's going to be an unprecedented era of change we're going through in the industry, both from a personnel perspective and also from a consolidation perspective. I think that's only accelerating. But number one, we're going to see that. Number two, does it make you like, you know what? I want a piece of that action. I want a piece of that pie. And I'm going to go ahead and get my name out there to see if there is a better fit for me, more money, whatever it is, better opportunity, whatever it is. So I'd love for you in the comments to talk about that. But to the four people I mentioned, congratulations. There are a few things more exciting when you start a new endeavor, especially when you have say in what you're doing. You are choosing what you want to do. I've had the opportunity to do that a few times now. Now, obviously, as a solopreneur here at Brandivate, I get to do that every day. But I do remember those times where I felt, that excitement of joining an organization that not only I wanted to be at, but they wanted me. That is a tremendous feeling, and it certainly will fuel you for a long time. And I hope every one of these moves works out not only for the organizations, but also for the individuals. We all deserve to do work that matters and be recognized for that work. So my wish for all of those four people is that they find wild success. Before we get to our guest, let's pay one more bill, shall we? Hey, do you know what season it is? That's right, it's business valuation season. Now, perhaps you don't know what your company's worth. Maybe it's been more than a few years since your last valuation and you need a new benchmark to see if your company is increasing in value. Heck, you might just want to see if it's time to sell your business. Now, regardless of the reason, Jamie Watson and the experts at Certified Marketing Consultants have extensive experience in the world of branded merchandise and the theoretical knowledge necessary to provide a fact-based valuation for your business. Simply email them at info@certifiedmarketing.com for a confidential discussion today. All right, let's go ahead and I can shut up at this point. Let's get to our guest. My first guest today, honestly, out of all my guests, needs no introduction. But anyway, it's my podcast. I'm going to waste some of your time, his time, and my time. He is a tech entrepreneur who loves helping the promotional products industry grow through innovation. He's built and led Distributor Central. He did that. And in 2019, started PromoPulse to give distributors simple automated tools to market their business and stay in front of their clients. He's also a very skilled musician, having released his two most recent albums, Rev Level and Dev Level, in 2024 and 2025, respectively. Also, if you happen to like the industry podcast, kids, you've likely heard his work as he is a musician behind I Can't Talk Today. He is the musician behind such podcast theme songs as Promo Up Front, Better Merch, Better Marketing, Tacos with Jay and Jeff, and of course, this fine broadcast you are stuck listening to, Between Two Brands. Please join me in welcoming my good friend, Dr. Mr. Jason Nokes. Jason, how the hell are you? Thank you for joining me today on the
Doing
podcast.
great, Bill. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you've I think seen this podcast or listened to it. You know the drill. What do we want to talk about before I have five very easy questions I would like to ask you at a
Yeah.
time of my choosing?
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you a softball, Bill. I want to know how you really feel about service providers being underrepresented in our industry.
Yeah,
How you really feel. You've kind of held back. I want to, I want to
so okay, so this is a moment where I've got to go like this. Oh, you want me to
know.
not hold back and I can rip off my glasses dramatically like that. It bothers the absolute hell out of me. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago with the PPAI board. I hate the fact that there's not a service provider on the board. To me, that's where it begins. There is a path for a service provider to be on the board, but it's an appointed position, which I think there's a validity to it being an elected position. I've said this before, and I think you agree with me. I love distributors. I love suppliers. But the real innovation in this industry happens on the service provider side of the business. I'm sorry, but it does. And I'm talking innovation, things like what you're doing. And that's not to pump you up, but you are. What you did, what you built at Promo Pulse is absolutely impressive. What commonsku has built in terms of an entire platform is absolutely amazing. I would even maybe throw myself in there. I think, the first person to really decide to do a full advertising agency focused on the promotional products industry. Much less important than what you guys have done. But I think there is an underrepresentation throughout the industry, and it starts at that board level. You, though, look at, again, who's vocal and who's really shifting things in the promotional products industry. It is a lot driven by the service provider. What do you think, though?
Well, I mean, I've been doing it for a long, long time. So it's
Yeah.
25 plus years trying to get attention, and it's difficult. It's really difficult, and I'm sure you remember back when we both first started. It was
Mhm.
difficult to get attention. To
Yeah.
aren't a lot of avenues necessarily to not promote, but just get overall awareness. So like you and I tried to do things together, and we did stuff with Promo Soapbox, and so
Yeah.
there were several of us all trying to get established at the same time. That we tried to group together, which sounds
We did.
sounds kind of like an association. So
Yeah.
anyway, and to their credit, PPAI has been doing more for service providers,
Absolutely.
and I hear from Connie all the time, and they're doing different things. And so I'm not knocking them or saying that they're not doing anything at all, but it is a challenge, and there's the biggest challenge I think with for service providers a lot of times is we start out really small, and so we
Yeah.
don't have any resources sometimes at all, and so sometimes
Well,
the only thing I would add, if PPI is listening to this, it's was a little expensive to get started, to be a member, and there
yeah.
needs to be like a startup level in their
Yeah.
due structure. So
Well, I think that size, though, you mentioned also gives us as service providers an advantage because we can be much more nimble, much more proactive. We can throw things to the wall, see what works, and move very quickly away from it or double down on something. And to your point, I think PPAI over the last 4 or 5 years has absolutely made a ton of effort on the business to include business services, things like that. I'm more talking about representation at the board level. It's kind of like living in Washington, D.C., but you don't have a congressperson advocating on your behalf. It's a little bit like that at times. But Connie and the team over at PPAI hear from her as well. I've had many conversations with her, as I know you have. How do we add value to your membership as business services? And I think they're still working on it. I don't think we've gotten there yet, but I'm fine with the effort. As long as the effort's there, I can be
I agree.
patient. To your point, I do think, and across the board, I think you bring up a really great point, Jason. Across the board, there are so many solopreneurs. You're a solopreneur. For the most part, I am a solopreneur. There's so many of us. There should almost be, it might be worth PPI looking into a lower entry level membership for solopreneurs for year one. Like it would just be for year one. At that point, you can decide if it's worth continuing on. I like that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
Let's do it.
awesome. All right. Do you have any? Let's make it happen right now. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or is it time to ask you some easy questions?
Ask me some easy questions, Bill.
Oh, Jason, I thought you'd never ask. Hey, question number A. You started PromoPulse in 2019, and you had to weather the uncertainty of the pandemic while still providing for your family. Very difficult, not easy to navigate. So I have a couple questions for you, actually three. Number one, did you ever consider giving up your dream of PromoPulse due to the pressure of making ends meet?
No, and full disclosure, Bill did send me these questions in advance, so I had time to prepare. And it's funny because I read that, and literally that was the first time it ever crossed my mind. So wasn't even a thought. So which sounds silly actually in
No,
retrospect, but it never crossed my mind. It's like I committed to do this, and I was going to make it happen. So
I
yep.
love it. But looking back, what was the turning point for you? Where do you feel like, okay, we're starting to gain traction?
Right,
You have
right.
a
So,
similar
well,
moment like that?
yeah, definitely. I mean, the pandemic was, it was horrible, but there were gifts in there. The gift of time was one thing, and so because we lost all our business, we kept afloat. By the way, we had another business. We were in the process of selling, my wife and I, and we put that on hold, and then we were able to qualify for government help, and that I was able to look and see some money in the bank account, so that took that burden off of it, but since I didn't, I wasn't doing sales calls. Suppliers weren't interested in what I had to sell during that time, and so through that process, I figured out how to do AMP, which is always on marketing platform for distributors. And so it automates all their marketing. And it was something that I had intended. I knew there was a next step with PromoPulse, but I didn't know what that was. And so it literally gave me the time to figure all of that out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love that. But you're not one to rest on your laurels. You're always cooking something up. You're not happy with just sitting still. This I know about you. What kind of things are you cooking up right now? What can we expect out of PromoPulse in the coming months?
Yeah, well, we just launched a new version of AMP last week, and so it's called AMP Flex. This was in response to a number of distributors I would hear from. They either they were new, they couldn't afford a monthly plan for marketing, or they were seasonal, or they wanted to pause and stop, or they wanted only one part of the thing we're doing instead of all these things. And so we create AMP Flex for them to pick and choose, to be able to posit campaigns. It starts at $10 a month, and there's like, and that keeps the lights on so you can get certain things. And then if you want to add campaigns and do different things, that the price goes up obviously when you do that. But you can pick and choose, and you can start and stop. And it's just I'm really have high hopes for this because it's as a result of what distributors have been asking for all this time.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. That's awesome. So now one thing I know you do quite a bit with PromoPulse is track data and a lot of it. Since you started analyzing that data, what statistics have surprised you the most?
Yeah. Like I said, I've got these questions advanced, so I had time to think about this, and I did look at some
I
data.
just wrote them this morning, so I don't know how I got them
Yeah, I
in,
don't
but
know. No, I'm going to kind of spin it on its head. It's actually the data that we don't track because it's not there. Because the number one thing that I have been most surprised since starting ProMPulse is the number of distributors that don't do any marketing whatsoever. It kind of blew my mind a little bit. I had, through the DC days, I kind of had a hunch, but when we started ProMPulse, actually started talking to distributors about this, I got the idea for AMP, and then I get on Zooms like this and start asking questions, and like, what do you do now? Nothing. And so anyway, so I kind of did flip your question a little bit, but
yeah,
it really that's the most surprising thing, that's like nobody's doing any marketing, and so that's it really even lit a fire under me to do even better job and to come out with
yeah.
Flex and come figure out a way to give everybody the ability to do marketing.
It's one of those things that it's the old adage, the guy who has the worst shoes in town is the cobbler.
Yeah,
We're all in the marketing industry, and you're right. It is astounding how many distributors don't do any level of marketing,
yeah.
and then wonder why am I not growing my business? So
Can you
I love your
imagine what
answer.
the
Now,
if every distributor would do some level of marketing and whatever they're comfortable with, that would just right the whole industry would go up. It would all go up. So anyway, that's kind of my mission.
100%. I love it. Now, for those of you who don't know, you're actually really tech savvy. So, other than I want to know what technologies do you see changing, if not really even disrupting our industry, and what should people be doing right now to prepare?
Yeah, I don't. You can't leave out AI, because
No.
AI is going to exponentially have everything's going to come much quicker than we all thought. And so anyway,
Yep.
everybody sees it right now, right? It's happening to all
Yep.
of us. And with AI, it's estimated by 2029 that AI will be able to pass the Turing test, which, if you know what that is, that's where you can't tell you're talking to an AI. And so once that level of AI gets there, you start thinking about sales and obviously orders. Um, and I don't think 3D printing has not had its chat GPT moment, but if it does, you're going to get more distributors just making their own stuff, right? For
Yeah.
especially low quantity type of things and unique things. And so, probably the biggest thing, the one thing that has really stuck out for a long, long time for me, but even back to the DC days, was we have made promotional products, brand and merch, whatever you want to call it, so difficult to order that it just hampers a lot of lay people.
Yeah.
Small businesses, they'll get started and they give up. They have to go find a logo, they have to do this, and we all have in our pockets a solution to overcome this. And now we can talk to our phones. Your phones can see us. Your phones can put us in clothes. Should be able to snap your logo and just put it on something. Tell it, no, I want blue, I want red, and then order. And so I think there is. there we can do much better. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be the person to tackle that, but
Yeah.
I've seen that pretty clear for a long time now that it's
Yeah, I'm going to add one if you don't mind. I think
yeah,
one of things that is just on the precipice of really making inroads is Canva. A lot of people slag Canva. It's low rent. It's a low rent version of Illustrator, and it is, but it has completely democratized graphic design and it made it accessible. Because if you've ever used Illustrator, and I use Illustrator, but it's cumbersome. It's difficult. There's a big learning curve. There's not with Canva, and the second they either form an alliance with Adobe or figure out how to actually produce true uh, uh, Illustrator type files, vector files, you're going to see a lot. I think a lot of distributors actually starting to offer those services because they can. And I think that's one of the things I see from a disruption standpoint.
well, I started as a production artist, and so I started on Illustrator and Photoshop, and so I'm
Yeah,
probably expert level in both those packages, but I'll use Canva because it's quicker.
it is. Look,
You just drag
I,
stuff and do
I
stuff and done.
The only thing I really use Illustrator for these days is if I'm doing logo design for a client,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I mean, honestly, Canva is faster and it's quicker, and I'm using it digitally for what I do for clients, so it's perfect. All right, let's move on, shall we? Question number D. You're a big fan of playing poker and regularly playing tournaments out in Las Vegas. We've talked about that, you and I have, off this podcast. Now, I know you've had your share of winning and your share of losing, so I have a few questions for you if you don't mind. I want to know what lessons you've learned from playing poker that have helped you on your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. I was thrilled when you added this question because I I see poker, especially tournaments and business, almost identical. To me, they're the same thing because I am placing a bet literally that I can make more money doing this. And so with poker, I mean, it's taught me so many things. Like just risk taking, but then controlling your emotions, uh, consistency, tenacity, continual learning. Because even though poker appears to be a very simple game, it's not. It's the most difficult game on earth almost. And all those things kind of go together to me, and I do the same things in my day-to-day work life too. So
I love that. And I think there's a big psychological aspect of playing poker. So, what's the biggest difference in your mind between a good poker player and a bad one?
well, you can tell, and once you start playing poker,
Sure.
you can tell. And a lot of times it's when they bet or when they don't bet, or and what sizes of their bets. And so that's the easiest way, usually, typically, to tell easily and quickly tell somebody's skill level at the poker table.
Okay. Bluffing. So, I'm fascinated with the concept of bluffing. Is it more extreme optimism from someone, or is it like a Hail Mary to win a hand that you have no business
Yeah,
winning?
neither. Neither. I mean, it's a critical. It's just part. I mean, you bluff
Yeah.
continuously throughout when you're playing, and and I won't. This isn't a 2-hour podcast, so I won't go down this rabbit hole. But you play ranges, and so depending on where you're positioned and all these different things, there's certain things that you should or shouldn't do based on the math. And so you're always bluffing, a lot of times bluffing in certain times, and then oftentimes it goes back to your opponents, right? If you have correctly figured out what they are, by the time you get to the end of the hand that if you put a big bet out, they're not going to call because they obviously don't have anything. So it's a critical part. It's the only way you can win. That's the best part of poker is that aspect where it's the bluffing, that my hidden information. That's what makes poker so fascinating and so difficult.
Yeah. Last question in this section. In five card stud, why are the cards always Bill Petrie, David Schultz, Kirby Hasseman, Mark Graham, and Danny Rosen?
I don't know. I don't play studs, so I'm sorry.
Well, that's unfortunate. All right. You and I are both fans, despite our very straight-laced appearances, you and I are both fans of loud, rude, guitar-driven music. We talk about if you have the misfortune of hanging around Jason and I, that's about all we're going to talk about is angry guitars. Now, however, that brand of music isn't exactly heard much beyond Ozzy's Boneyard, hair metal, and maximum Metallica stations on Sirius XM. So, with the favorite bands of our youth entering or mid golden years, I guess we can put it. Would you rather see the real band or whatever's left of it in concert, or one more time, or a really polished tribute band? And I asked this because Jason and I kicked off Expo in the most epic way last year. We saw an Iron Maiden and it was Iron Maiden Judas Priest
Free.
tribute band. It was
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah. It was
awesome.
great. Yeah. So I actually put a lot of thought in all these questions, even this one too. And so, with the cover band, it's neat to see a polished cover band. But to be honest, I can hear the most perfect version of the song um, on a record, right? That is the ultimate version. So I would go with the original because you're going to see these original guys in hoping that you get a glimpse of a little bit of that magic that they used to have. And with all your VH on the back, we've tried with Dave and it's not there.
No,
So
and I actually agree with you. I it was just about a year ago I saw the Best of All Worlds tour with Sammy Hagar, and he had Michael Anthony playing bass, Joe Satriani guitar, and at that point Kenny Aronoff had replaced Jason Bonham on the drums. And it was a true emotional moment for me because I knew as a huge of a Van Halen fan as I am, I knew this is the last time I'm going to see these songs performed by anybody who had anything to do with the band.
yeah,
So I could go see like the Atomic Punks, which is a very well-known Van Halen tribute band, and they're amazing. It's they try to encapsulate what Van Halen was around 1983, 1984, and
yeah.
it's phenomenal, but it's a different experience. So like you, I'd rather see the real people. What whoa, for Jason Notes, I just
Oh,
was handed an envelope. Let me dramatically open it up.
my goodness.
I'm sorry, Jason. I have no idea what
This was
this
not
could
on my pre questions.
Oh, well, I wasn't on mine either. I mean, I didn't plan this. Okay. Okay, it looks like it's a rapid fire for our friend
Oh
Jason
my
Nokes.
goodness.
Okay. Now, one thing people may not know, Jason, is one of your favorite pastimes in summer is to lay in your pool, enjoy a Cayman Jack bottled margarita, and watch your beloved Kansas City Royals while listening to yacht rock.
Yeah.
I know that's quite the mental image. So today's rapid fire is Yacht Rock Edition. There are no wrong answers. I'm going to give you two Yacht Rock songs. You tell me which one you prefer. Again, no wrong answers. Are you ready to play, Jason?
Yes, definitely.
Excellent. Let's start with this. Kenny Loggins. This is it, or whenever I call you friend.
This is it.
Look, you're off to a fantastic start. That's absolutely the
Well, I
right
know the right
answer.
answers. Don't trust me.
Well, we're about to find out if you know the right answers or not. All right. Hall and Oates, Kiss on My List, or Sarah Smile.
Kiss on my list.
Very
I
good. I thought you were going to go Sarah Smile, and I was going to have to
man,
yell at you
just
like I did Kirby.
a little
Hey, let's go
cliche.
wild card. Seals and Crofts, Summer Breeze, or Still the One by Orleans.
Whew, boy, that's a tough
Orleans.
one. I'm
That
gonna
is a
have to
tough one.
Summer Breeze. I like that better.
And that song kicks me in the Yacht Rod Onions. I cannot stand that song. It just puts me to sleep. All
Sorry.
right. Ambrosia, biggest part of me, or how much I feel?
Oh boy, those are how much I feel. They're
Okay.
both excellent. That was an underrated
One of
band,
the
actually.
Absolutely. Well, one of the quintessential yacht
Terrible
rock lyrics,
name.
Toto,
Yeah.
Africa, or Rosanna.
Africa.
It's a great song. Uh, Steely Dan,
Oh yes.
Peg, or Reeling in the Years.
I love them both, but I love Peg just to listen to Michael McDonald say something that I can't figure out what he's saying.
It's another wild card. Baker Street from Jerry Rafferty, or Rupert Holmes' classic Escape, otherwise known as the Pina Colada song.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go with Baker Street, but I do have a funny. Every time Pina Colada song comes on, it's almost like it's like a surprise. You listen to the story, it's like
Yeah,
it was her, so I do that every time. It's like here it comes, the reveal.
awesome, awesome. Doobie Brothers. This is going to be a tough one. Minute by Minute, or What a Fool Believes.
What a fool believes.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
just too.
Wild
It's
card.
just classic.
Yeah, wild card. Eagles. I can't tell you why, or Steal Away by Robbie Dupree.
Oh, I gotta go to Eagles. I don't think you're not an Eagles fan, are you? Are
No,
you?
I have respect for the
Okay,
Eagles. No, I
somebody.
like the Eagles.
Sorry,
Yeah,
but definitely Eagles.
sorry. All
The
right.
Steal Away. That's
Uh,
that's what a fool believes. That's he
yeah, it's basically the same
completely
song.
ripped that
Yeah.
off. So
All
Sorry,
right,
Rob.
last question. One of my favorite artists, believe it or not, of all time, Christopher Cross. Sailing or Ride Like the Wind?
I like Ride Like the Wind. I like them both though. I mean, he's underrated. Do you know he played with Deep Purple?
Yeah, I did. And here's a little thing. If you the mix on Ride Like the Wind, and by the way, Ride Like the Wind, 100% the right answer. The mix on that is so bad because you do not realize what a blistering guitar solo is hidden underneath all the layers of that yacht rock deliciousness. Because Christopher Cross is one hell of a guitar player.
Yeah,
And for those of you
yeah.
who don't know, he is a contemporary of one Eric Johnson, who happens to be my favorite guitar player of all
Yeah.
time. So, hey, Jason, thanks. But before we say goodbye to you, huge thanks to our good pals over at Shapenko for sponsoring this fine heavy metal edition podcast. Now, for 90
Mhm.
years, the four
Thank you.
generations of family ownership, they have defined stability by caring about the success of their distributor partners. Head over to shapenko.com to start your next project today. Jason, thanks so much for joining me. I hope we get to see some sort of tribute band again in Vegas on Saturday night before Expo because that was absolutely epic. But thanks again for doing the podcast.
Maybe a yacht rock tribute band.
I'd be fine with that.